It's that time of the week again. It's time for Real Talk with Auntie K. And this week's topic is hobbies. What do you do just for fun? What do you enjoy doing? Not that you're getting paid for, because that's not a hobby. And for our purposes, there are two things I'm not talking about. Sex should not be your hobby. When I talk about a hobby, I talk about things that you're doing that are productive. And sex, while it is fun, isn't necessarily productive. You can get diseases from it, you can get pregnant from it. It can cause a whole lot of relationship problems. So I'm not talking about sex, and I'm not talking about shopping if you're shopping to excess, if you're shopping and living beyond your means. If that money got you that great purse, but it really should have gone to a bill, then I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things that are largely productive. And when I talk about hobbies that I engage in, I would talk about cooking. That's a big hobby of mine. I would talk about kickboxing. That's another hobby of mine. I would talk about writing or podcasting. Those are my hobbies. So if I'm bored and not doing something, I can do one of those four things and it will be a productive use of my time. Trivia is a use of my time. I love word games, word searches. I do the Wordle every day, and I'm pretty good at it. Those are things that use your time productively. You get something out of it. If you have kids that want to say, "Oh, I'm going to do, I don't have nothing to do," then give them a hobby. One of my mother's favorite hobbies was playing the piano, and she was very good at it. One of my favorite memories is if I closed my eyes and I listened to my mother play the piano. If I listened very closely, I could hear her nails. My mother had 10 beautiful natural nails, long nails, and you can hear them touching the keys if you listen closely enough. But you should have a hobby. If you're telling me you don't have time for a hobby, I'm going to challenge you. If you have time to be texting all day and on social media all day, then you have time for a hobby. I don't really consider social media to be a hobby, although it is for some people. But to me, it has too many negative possibilities. There are more productive things you can do. I mentioned salsa as a hobby. Did I mention salsa? Salsa used to be a hobby until my salsa teacher got married and moved to the DR. But once a week, I would go down, I would take salsa lessons. I know how to salsa, I know how to do bachata. And every maybe once a month, we would meet up at a salsa club and test our dancing on the dance floor. And it was a lot of fun. Cooking is a lot of fun. Do something that you grow from. I've learned so much about kickboxing and cooking. And I learned so much about salsa dancing while I was there. And it makes you a more well rounded person. It makes you a more interesting person. I can talk about that with people. I can go out to a club and a friend said, "I want to take that salsa dance lesson." I went with her and was out there doing my thing. And people are like, "Whoa, you can salsa dance." I'm like, "Yes, I can." Oh, speaking of which, Spanish is another hobby of mine. So when I tell you about hobbies, I'm not talking about travel. And the reason is this: a hobby to me is something you don't have to do daily, but maybe you do it weekly. You should be able to do it within a month. If you aren't doing it on a monthly basis or more often, then it's an occasional thing you do. It's not really a hobby. So do a hobby. Find something that is productive. Now, and I wouldn't call this a hobby because I do it normally while I'm working during the day. But I'll have the TV on and I'm always watching trashy TV. I watch all my drama. I don't live it in my real life. But I'm watching these dramas and Maury, um, every once in a while, Jerry Springer, um, always paternity court, divorce court, all that. And when I hear about people, oh, I cheated because he or she didn't spend enough time with me, I'm like, you need something to do. You need a hobby. Not just sitting around waiting for someone to fill your time. You can do that yourself. In fact, I've considered making a nonprofit group called Hobbies, having other business besides intercourse. Hobby. Because there's so much more things you can do that can be productive for you. Sports, music, um, different things you can do with your time that you can do that you're not waiting on someone else for. So these are things you can do. Now, maybe you don't have friends that want to go to salsa dance with you, or to kickbox with you, or take a cooking class with you, whatever you want to do. But if you go there, you're going to meet people that are already interested in those things. You can make new friends. I really, really, really want to start going to trivia nights because, I do facts of the day every day. I'm interested in trivia. I have a lot of things I'm interested in. So here's how that works. I very rarely, if ever, am bored because I always have stuff to do. And when I meet other people, I want to know what your hobbies are. What do you do for fun? If you don't do anything, that kind of tells me something about you. When I meet guys and I'm like, oh, I do this, I do that. Oh, you do too much stuff. No, what I'm not going to do is sit around and wait for you all day because I have things to do. You should have things to do. And when we come together, we can talk about those things. You don't have to do everything that I do, and I don't have to do everything that you do. It'd be nice if maybe something crossed, but I don't have to do that. I can have my time with you and have a full life. And that's what I want for more people is to have a full life and to do things beside things you have to do, things you're supposed to do. You should always have things you want to do for no other reason than you want to do it. See the world, meet people, do things that you find interesting. That's what hobbies are all about. So find out what matters to you. Go ahead, if you're still listening, put it in the comments. What is your hobby? What is it that you enjoy doing? That you're doing just because you enjoy it, not because you want to get paid for it, not because you want to be noticed for it, but just because you like doing it. So that's it for Real Talk with Auntie K. Hobbies. You should have them. Talk to you soon.